I'm setting up for scenario 2 of the Jenny Barnes campaign, entering into the Forgotten Age. In the last scenario, we managed to get through just making sure I have all the different encounter sets here. Missing what? We managed to get through the first scenario, the Untamed Wilds, and managed to get through. I got 6 experience, and 1 on the next to last turn. We were engaged with a Brood of Yig, but were able to get the 2 clues thanks to deduction, and spent those 2 clues immediately as a triggered ability to advance, and we had the discovery of a lifetime. We found the ruins of Eztli. So here we are, picking up where we left off. We cleared a path to the ruins of Eztli, so I will go to intro 2. Friday, July 3rd, 1925. We spent most of yesterday moving our camp to the edge of the ruins. With the serpentine creatures still guarding the region, we have decided that a small party will have the best chance of slipping into the main temple unnoticed. I told Maria, the expedition's naturalist, to take one of the trucks and wait beyond the northern edge of the rainforest. Our cartographer, Jose, is still guarding the camp until we return. We're on our own, but at least we've cleared an escape route in the event things go sour. Alright, so we need to create 2 different decks for this scenario, just like the first scenario. So I'm gonna get the Doom of Eztli scenario card. I'll put that up there. Put these cards aside. Here is the entryway. That's where the investigators will start. The entryway has a shroud value of 2, a clue value of 1, and just like the campsite in the first scenario, it has 2 triggered abilities. One is a resign ability. You've escaped for now. The other one is a check your supplies ability. If you have torches, you can look at the top 2 cards of the exploration deck, discard each treachery card looked at by this effect, and then shuffle. So in some ways I like this a lot better than the map ability. Again, I did not have a map. I did not take a map with my supplies. One of the reasons I don't take a map is I like the torches ability better in scenario 2. So I figured I'd put my 3 supply points toward torches, because you are guaranteeing that if you see those treachery cards, you're culling the exploration deck of those cards. Whereas if you just use the maps, every time you reshuffle the exploration deck, cards that you might have put on the bottom, well, now you're going to see them again, and that's going to be a problem. Act 1A, Into the Ruins. After your hellish journey through the jungle, the quiet solitude of the temple ruins sows paranoia in your mind. Serpent eyes glare at you from the darkness. Every drop of water and fallen pebble causes you to whirl about in search of danger, but the real danger is yet to come. There's an explore mechanic. Draw the top card of the exploration deck. If it is a connecting location, put it into play and move to it. The investigators need 3 clues per investigator to advance. Agenda 1A, something stirs. Despite Ichitaka's warnings, you've entered the ruins of the temple in search of ancient knowledge and artifacts. There is an asterisk. This agenda gains +1 doom per investigator. Alright, so it's a 6 with an asterisk, so it's actually, doom threshold is 7 in the solo game. Forced when this agenda advances, do not remove doom from each location in play. I'm setting up a exploration deck. So here are the 5 single-sided ancient locations, and we're going to add to them Deep Dark, Ill Omen, Final Mistake, Entombed, and Crypt Chill. Crypt Chill, knowing that in the encounter deck, changes how you think about your assets, because it is a willpower test of 4. I only have a base of 3, so that's a big risk for me, but 4 is a big risk for any investigator, let's be clear. And if you spend all your money on one asset and you do not have another one, and you pull Crypt Chill and you lose, well, bye-bye that asset that you so painstakingly went to great efforts to get into play. So it does change your strategy and how you think about what assets you put in play and when. Alright, so the encounter deck is set. I'm not poisoned. That is one of the very good things that came out of the first scenario, not being poisoned. And now before we move on and begin the second scenario, I'm going to go ahead and spend my 6 XP. So I want to do that on camera. So here we go. I looked through my cards, and these are the 4 cards I want to add to my deck. We have Cat Burglar, who is a really nice asset. He's a very cheap rogue asset that only costs 1 XP to get. Lockpicks, tremendous asset in getting clues. Elusive and Machete. Now, Elusive and Machete were both nerfed by the taboo rules, in that these are level 0 cards, but they cost 2 XP to get. So I'm going to get both of them. They're both very strong cards. So now I have to get rid of 4 cards, including one of my 5 splash cards. So I'm going to get rid of Winging It. I'm going to take the Machete. My phone is being especially slow right now. Wow. Here we go. Let's see what else we want to drop. Liquid Courage is on the short list. Knuckle Duster is definitely out. Giving every enemy retaliate is not great. And again, I'm gonna drop Eavesdrop. I think it's a card that I never really seem to get when I want it, and the other cards I've got here are just better, and Lockpicks gives me even more power in investigating, so Eavesdrop doesn't have some of the allure that I might have otherwise. So we're taking Elusive, we're taking Knuckle Duster. Now I do want to note that when you're taking these nerfed taboo-less cards, my app decides, because level 0 cards are supposed to cost 1 XP anyway, the rules are that a card cannot cost less than 1 XP. So when you have the nerf rules, the fact that it's trying to charge me 3 XP for both Elusive and Machete is just a mistake and a glitch with the system. So I did only spend 6 XP to get these 4 cards, and we are good. Alright, so these 4 cards are out. I'm going to add these 4 cards to my deck, and even one scenario that this is a radically more powerful deck than the one I was dealing with in the first round. The taboo rules really do change how strong your starting decks can be. I'm going to draw my opening cards. We got Cheap Shot, we got Jenny's Twin 45s, we get a Machete, it's a great card, we get a Flashlight, also happy about that, and a Trenchcoat. We are keeping those three, drawing two more. Psychosis is a weakness, we'll set that aside. Dynamite Blast, happy to have that, and Elusive. Alright, very happy with that set of 5 cards. Two of my most important events, knowing exactly where they are, having them in my hand, it's never a bad thing. A Trenchcoat and a Machete and the Flashlight, all very strong for what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm going to grab my 5 cards, and I am going to, my first action, put the Flashlight in play. There are a number of things that cause you to lose assets in this scenario. Out of the assets in my hand, the most I would hate to lose a Flashlight, but you know, I don't want to put my Machete or my Trenchcoat at risk, so I'm going to spend the 2 for the Flashlight, add 1 more. Sorry, I have 3 supplies in the Flashlight on my first action. My second action is I'm going to spend 1 of those supplies and reduce the Shroud of the Entryway to a 0. And now I am investigating a 3 to a 0, -2, I succeed, I get a clue. I have 1 more action. Now I'm going to do the action that is on the card. I'm going to look and try to call this deck down from 5 treacheries to something less than 5. So we'll look at the first 2 cards. It's a location. The second card is a location. That was not a successful calling operation, but that's all right. We will put that back. Enemy phase we can skip. There are no enemies. Upkeep phase, I will draw a card. It is Hard Knocks. I'm happy to have that. And we will take 2 resources. All right. So we're going to put a Doom on the agenda, and we're going to draw an encounter card. It's a Brood of Yig. Oh, it's amazing. I swear, I've played this scenario so many times, and the first encounter card I pull off is invariably a Brood of Yig. But that's fine. So we have a Brood of Yig. I guess they're better to get early. I am going to just try to kill him. I'm going to spend 3 to put the Machete in play. Before the Machete enters play, though, there is an attack of opportunity. So that means I take a damage and a horror. I'm now testing a 4 to a 2. The Brood of Yig is a hunter. He gets +1 fight for each vengeance point in the victory display, which is 0. So this is kind of better to get Broods of Yig early to try to kill them before there's any vengeance in play. So we're doing a 4 to a 2. I get -1. Since the Brood of Yig is the only enemy I'm engaged with, that does 2 damage. And I will try to finish him off once and for all with this attack. 0. He is very dead. Thank you for playing. Have a nice day. Alright. Enemy phases. Investigation phase is over. Enemy phase. We just killed the only enemy that was in play, so we can skip that. We will now go to the upkeep phase. I'll draw a card. It is a Quick Thinking, and I will take 2 resources. Alright. I think I forgot to pay for my Machete. Here's this 5, down to 3, up to 5. Yeah, I'll pay for the Machete now. Seemed like too many resources. Sorry about that. Upkeep phase, Mythos phase, we'll put the second Doom in play on the agenda, and we will grab the second encounter card. It is not a Brood of Yig. Tarantine. Test 3 willpower for each point you fail by. You must either lose 1 action or take 2 horror. I don't want to do either. Alright, but at least it's not another broody egg. So let's test a 3 to a 3. Tablet is minus X. X is the number of locations with doom on them. That is 0. So I succeed. So that will go away. Alright, my investigation phase. I'm going to go back to trying to cull this deck. There's definitely at least 2 of these that I really want to get out of there if it's all possible. So we're going to look at the top 2. Ill Omen is one of them that does place a doom on a location. Doom never goes away, so it counts twice effectively. Because again, if it doesn't go away, again, it will help reach the threshold once. And then the next agenda, it will help reach the threshold again. So it really shortens the scenario. And it is not good for the investigator. So I'm happy to get rid of that. And the second one is Deep Dark. Don't mind Deep Dark that much, but I will consider that a very successful use of torches. With my second action, I'm going to do it again. It is a location. It is Final Mistake. Don't hate that much either, but happy to be done with that. I have 2 more treacheries here, and one I really don't like, and the other one is also going to pose a bit of a problem for me right now. So I think I have no choice but to do the torches one more time. Hope we get lucky. That's a location. It's also a location. Shoot. Alright, well, 3 out of 5 are out. Alright, let me see what I can do. So enemy phase, we'll skip it. There are no enemies in play. Upkeep phase, we're going to draw a card. Working hunch. And we'll take 2 resources. I'm going to put a 3rd doom in play. We're going to draw the top encounter card. It is Final Mistake. I'm testing 2 agility. And it gets +1 difficulty for each doom on the location. There is none. If I fail, take 2 damage. And I'd rather not, but we will test this. It's a 3 to a 2, -2. I fail. I take 2 damage. Alright, that goes there. My first action, I will put the trench coat in play for 3. My second action, I'll put Hard Knocks in play for 2. And my third action, I'm going to go back to trying to get lucky and get rid of those treacheries. 1. Yes. Okay. Entombed is a really nasty treachery, and I'm happy to get rid of it. That means there's 1 more treachery, but I will have to deal with that as it comes. But Entombed is, you can't disengage from enemies, and it's a test of 4, which for someone like Jenny, who is only 3s across the board, it isn't great. Alright, so we're done with my investigation turn. We will now draw a enemy phase. There are no enemies. We'll skip that. Upkeep phase, we're going to draw a card. A cheap shot. We're going to take 2 resources. We're going to go to the Mythos phase. We're going to put the 4th Doom in play. 4 out of 7. And we have to test Final Mistake again. I will contribute 1 resource using Hard Knocks. Give myself +1 agility. The agility from the trench coat doesn't count because this is not an evasion attempt. I'm doing a 4 to a 2, +1 this time. That's how this works. And we will do that. Alright, so now it is time to explore. Ancient halls. That was my first action. It has a shroud value of 3, a clue value of 2. At the end of the round, flip one of the clues in ancient halls to its doom side. Any investigator at ancient hall may spend 3 resources to cancel this effect. Alright, I am going to, my second action, use one of the supplies from the flashlight, and I'm going to spend that. I'm thinking if I am testing a 4 to a 1, I succeed, and I succeed by more than 2, so I have an additional action this turn. Alright, that was my second action. My additional action, which is now, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be testing a 3 to a 1. -5. No more resources now on ancient halls. I'm tempted just to let it go to doom. I have one more action because again I explored, I investigated, I won by more than 2, gives me an extra action. I investigated again, I lost. And now I'm going to explore. Grand Chamber is a shroud value of 2. When you investigate Grand Chamber, if you do not succeed by at least 2 before resolving any other effects from the skill test, flip one of the clues on Grand Chamber to its doom side. So this is a clue value of 1, shroud value 2. It is worth a victory point. So at least there's that. That was my 4th action of the turn, my last action. Enemy phase. We can skip. There are no enemies. Upkeep phase. We're going to draw a card, and we're going to grab 2 resources. I picked up an ally, which is always good. We're going to, end of the round, we're going to flip this. This is now the 6th doom in play, and we're going to take in a counter card. It is another Brood of Yig. Alright, I'm going to fight him. There's still no vengeance points in the victory vengeance display, the victory display, so we're doing a 4 to a 2. I succeed. We're doing a 4 to a 2. This guy is so great when you get it out early, I swear. Reveal another token, 4 to a 2. I succeed. He is dead. I have one more action. I'm going to put Cat Burglar into play for 4. So during evasion attempts, I have a base test of a 5, which is really strong. Alright, enemy phase. We can skip, kill that enemy. Upkeep phase, we're going to draw a card. And just pickpocket, we're going to grab 2 resources. We're going to add it, go to the Mythos phase. We're going to add a Doom. Actually, this Doom on Ancient Hall stays. We've hit 7 though. And what do we have? Just then, a sound thrums in the halls of the temple, a dull humming sound. A dull humming similar to that of a generator. Grooves in the walls and ceiling flicker and start to glow. And it is as though the temple is alive and senses your presence. The strange statues and carvings you've seen, coupled with the dim glow and the power coursing through the walls, make it clear that this temple isn't Aztec in origin. In fact, it appears to be from an even older, more ancient civilization altogether. You feel as though you are an intruder in a world you cannot begin to understand. Confirming your worst fears, A loud hiss and rattling echoes throughout the temple. Whatever you just woke up, it's not happy to see you. Spawn the set-aside Arbinger of Velusia at the location with the most doom. Alright, this is the Arbinger of Velusia. It's a humanoid monster serpent elite. Those are its traits. It also is alert. It's a hunter, and it can retaliate. It can also retaliate while exhausted. That's always fun. After Arbinger of Velusia is successfully attacked or evaded, you place one resource on it. Then, if there are 2 resources on it, it vanishes with a sinister hiss. Set it aside at a play with all its damage tokens, if any. Agenda 2, the Temple Warden. The serpent creature emerges from the shadows with terrifying speed. It is bedecked in gilded feathers and wields a golden spear, the blade tip unravaged by time. The rattle at the end of the creature's tail produces a tremendous noise as the creature hunts you throughout the ruins. This agenda gets +1 doom per investigator. So we're at 1 right now. I need to draw an encounter card. It is Ill Omen. Choose a location where there is at least 1 investigator. You're placing a doom at the location. Each investigator there takes 1 horror. So that's not ideal. Alright. Let's try... I'm going to move and engage with the Arbinger. I'm going to pay a resource through Hard Knocks. I get 3 agility, +1 for the calculator, +1 for the trench coat during evasion attempts, +1 for the 1 resource that I spent to power Hard Knocks. It is a -3 if there's doom in your location. There is, but 6 to a 3 is successful. I have evaded the Arbinger of Velusia. He now has 1 resource on him. That is 1. My second action is I will take a resource, and my third action is I will play pickpocketing, which is after I evade an enemy, I can exhaust pickpocketing and draw 1 card. I really do want to start getting some of my cards out, because I have some good cards that I have not seen yet, especially ones that will really help with the investigative task that is still in front of me. Alright, so enemy phase, upkeep phase, we're going to ready the Arbinger of Velusia. He will re-engage with me. We're going to draw a card. It is Leo DeLuca. We're going to grab 2 resources. We're going to put a doom on the agenda. That is the 3rd doom in play. Again, 13 to go. Obscuring Fog, attached to your location. I'm glad I moved. Limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard Obscuring Fog. So, I am now going to play a resource to do a 6 to a 3 to try to evade the Arbinger of Velusia for a 2nd time. Make him disappear. +1, I succeed. That's a 2nd resource on him. He will vanish after you successfully evade an enemy. Exhaust pickpocketing, which I will do, and I will draw a card, and it is Jenny's Twin 45s. Alright, so that was my first action. My second action is I really want to try to get that clue on the Grand Chamber. So I'm going to move here. And my third action is I'm going to draw a card. That shouldn't be in there. Sorry. Draw a card. Lockpicks would be amazing right now. Enemy phase we can skip. Upkeep phase we're going to draw a card. There we go. You ask and you shall receive. And we will take 2 resources. We're going to put the 4th doom on the agenda. We're going to take a look at this. It is a Fang of Yig. Prey is a poisoned investigator. It has retaliate. While the Fang of Yig is engaged with a poisoned investigator, that investigator cannot play cards or commit cards to skill tests. Man. I don't even know. Alright, I'm going to ready this. I'm going to just try to evade him. That's a 6 to a 3. I succeed. Evaded. Exhaust pickpocketing. Grab a card. It's a 41 Derringer. This is nuts. Alright, I'm going to spend 3 to put flashlight in play. I'm sorry, lockpicks in play, so flashlight goes away. 3 supplies. And then my third action, I'm going to exhaust lockpicks. I can investigate. I add my agility value to your skill value for this investigation. If you do not succeed by at least 2, exhaust. Remove 1 supply from lockpicks, but I need to succeed by 2 anyway. For the reason of if I don't succeed by 2, this is going to flip to doom. I really don't want that to happen, so I'm testing a 6 to a 4. Man, I'm so tempted to commit Leo to this. I'm going to commit the twin 45s to it. So 7 to a 4, 7 to a 2. So that play a skull, I still succeed. Oh my gosh. That's just horrible. Horrible, horrible luck. So that flips the doom before I can get it. It's really bad. Alright. Enemy phase. I lose one of my lockpicks. Upkeep phase. We are going to re-engage Fang of Ying with me. We're going to draw a card. Psychosis. Take 2 resources. Alright. Mythos phase. That is a 6 doom in play. Snake Scourge. Put Snake Scourge into play in your threat area. If you're poisoned, Snake Scourge gains Surge. I treat each of the non-weakness item assets as if its text box were blank, except for traits. Alright, I am going to exhaust the Cat Burglar, which allows me to disengage from the Fang of Yig, who is not a hunter, and I get to move to a connecting location, which I'll move to the Ancient Halls. And then I have 2 more actions. I am going to get rid of Psychosis, and that is the end of my round. So enemy phase are no enemies. Engaged, again, Fang of Yig does not have hunter. Upkeep phase, I will ready the Cat Burglar. I will draw a card, and I will take 2 resources. I'm going to put the 7th Doom in play, 7 out of 13. I'll draw Deep Dark. Put Deep Dark into play next to the agenda deck. No more than 1 clue may be discovered from each location by each investigator each round. At the end of the round, discard 1 copy of Deep Dark, which is fine. Alright. So, I still need 1 more clue. Alright, end of the round, this gets discarded. I'll probably play Leo next turn. That's fine. Alright, enemy phase, or investigation phase, I'm going to explore. Underground ruins is connected. I should probably flip these since I am underground. That makes more sense. While there is an enemy in underground ruins, it's considered to be in a victory display for the purposes of counting vengeance. So that was my first action, was to explore. My second action is I will exhaust lockpicks. 6 to a 2. tablet. Number of locations of doom on it, that's 2. I succeed by 2, so I get to keep both my lockpicks, and I succeed there. I'm going to immediately turn those in to advance the act deck. I have one more action. The ruins are far more vast than even Alejandro had anticipated. Carvings in the walls and hieroglyphs etched into stone altars suggest the existence of a central chamber underground. Perhaps a hidden passageway will show you the way to this chamber, the very heart of the temple ruins. Shuffle the set-aside Chamber of Time location into the exploration deck. As you pass the strange glyphs in the walls, the ruins groan and creak in protest, and the carvings glow ominously. Years of deterioration have faded the pattern of these glyphs, and the surrounding stones seep with a viscous pus. If only we had some way to restore these glyphs. Check your supplies. If any investigators chalk, I don't. So this gets put in the victory display as Vengeance 1. Alright, I have one more action. I need to shuffle the Chamber of Time. Did I ever take it out? 2 locations. I think I forgot to take it out. It's fine. So the Chamber of Time's been in there the whole time. I don't think I've seen it, which is fine. I'm going to explore. It's a burial pit, which I am connected to. There's a shroud value of 3, a clue value of 1. After you put burial pit into play by exploring effectively, you must either draw 2 cards from the top of the encounter deck or place 2 doom on burial pit or any combination thereof. I will draw 2 cards from the encounter deck. I feel like I've seen most of the enemies anyway. Shuffle a non-story asset you control into the encounter deck. I will shuffle pickpocketing. And then I will draw 1 more. I'll shuffle Hard Knocks. Back to back Lost in Times. It's always fun. Alright. So, enemy phase, upkeep phase. I will draw a card. It is Overpower. I will take 2 resources. Mythos phase. I'm going to put a Doom on the agenda. That is 8. Deep Dark goes away. And we're going to draw an encounter card. Deep Dark comes back. Alright, first action, I was going to put Leo into play for 6. I have 3 more actions. I'm going to exhaust lockpicks. 6 to a 3. I succeed, but not by more than 2, so I do lose another lockpicks. I get this clue. This is my first action. No, my second action. Leo is my first action. I will then explore. Chamber of Time is in there. Crypt Chill. Jesus. That was the one I was worried about all along. Well, I need the lockpicks. Sure as hell don't have other ways of exploring. I have nothing to add to this. I'm testing a 4, a 3 to a 4. If you fail, choose and discard 1 asset you control. I fail. I will discard the trench coat. Alright, now we have nothing but the secret passage and the Chamber of Time in the investigation deck. I'm sorry, exploration deck. So my 4 actions so far, my 3 actions so far was I played Leo, I investigated. I explored. Now this is my fourth action, because again I get the additional action from Leo, and I draw the secret passage. Alright, it's connected to both the burial pit and the underground ruins. It is a shroud value of 5. Has 1 clue. After you enter the secret passage, you must either take 1 horror and 1 damage, or place 1 doom on secret passage. I will take a horror and a damage. I do not have a rope. A rope can actually prevent that effect. So those are my 4 actions. I will go enemy phase. Are no enemies with hunter keyword. Upkeep phase. I will ready lockpicks. I'm going to draw a card, and I'm going to take 2 resources. That is a cool card for me to have, especially with lockpicks. Play when you succeed in the skill test, add +2 to that skill value. So it will really help me hold on to that last lockpicks. Alright, end of round effects. Deep Dark gets thrown out. I'm going to put the 9th Doom in play. Again, there are a threshold of 13, and I am going to grab this encounter card. Peril Surge. You must either place 1 Doom in your location and discard Ancestral Fear, or place Ancestral Fear into victory display. I'll put a 2nd Vengeance up there. Surges. I'm going to draw a Tear in Time test. 3 willpower for each point you fail by. Either lose 1 action or take 1 horror. I'm actually okay with horror, so worst case scenario isn't that bad here. I succeed though. Alright, my first action. Well, this is an action, this is fast. I'm discovering a clue in my location. That's a victory point. I will be more than glad to take those 2 clues. My second action is I will explore. We know it's the Chamber of Time. I have gotten rid of everything else. Is a shroud value of 4, a clue value of 2. Its revelation says forced. After Chamber of Time enters play, attach the set aside relic of ages to it, and place 1 doom on the Chamber of Time. It has vengeance 2 and victory 2. So there's a doom on there. So that is the 11th doom in play. It's the 10th doom in play. I have 2 more actions. I'm going to exhaust lockpicks. Testing a 6 to a 4. I lose -3. It's fine. Jesus. That was rough. I am going to, that's 2 victory points I'm not going to be able to get, which is fine. I'm going to spend these 2 clues to advance the act deck. The relic hums with power and throbs in your hands. It can only investigators in a chamber at a time may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. I don't think I ever read this. Magic and science, whatever is inside the central chamber must be important. Much care was taken to obscure its location. Alright, the relic comes with power and throbs in your hands. Energy from the device seeps into the corridors of the ruins, and the structure of the temple shifts. Choose an investigator choose an investigator in the Chamber of Time to take control of the relic of the ages. Move the placement of each location to form a straight line with the Chamber of Time on the left and the entryway on the right. Each other location is placed from left to right in between those 2 locations in order of how much doom is on them, from lowest to highest. So the Grand Chamber is going to go last. And the Ancient Hall is next to last. All right. I'm still here. Wondering if there's any way I can get those last 2 clues. I have 1 more action this turn. Alright, we're going to advance to 3A, escape the ruins. The ruins are shuddering with a tremendous power. You fear that the structure may collapse if this keeps up. You have to escape with the relic. While there are 3 or more vengeance points in the victory display, each serpent enemy gains +1 evade. There's only 2 vengeance points in the victory display. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. Alright, so I have elusive, right? So I'm not that worried about getting out of here alive. The unfortunate thing is I'd like to get those 2 victory points on my way out, and it looks like that's going to be somewhat impossible. But there are 10 doom in play. I'm going to grab a card. Perception. That was my last action. Enemy phase, upkeep phase. We're going to draw a card. We're going to grab 2 resources. Alright, it might be possible now. That is 9 cards, so I need to drop one of them. I'm going to drop Backstab. I'm going to put the 11th Doom in play in the Mythos phase. Alright, I'm going to ready. If Lock possesses no supplies discarded, so that goes away. I'm going to draw this. Each surge, each investigator who is poisoned takes 1 damage. I'm not poisoned, so I don't need to worry about that. Serpent's Call. You must either put a set-aside poisoned weakness into play in your threat area or draw the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. Definitely not getting poisoned. Crypt Chill. I need to test for willpower. If you fail, this one causes 1 asset you control. Fail, I will discard. I will discard the machete. The next card coming out is Entombed. You cannot disengage from enemies or move. Yowza. Alright, so I am testing a 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'm going to test a 3 to a 4 combat. I fail. Now I'm testing a 3, 4, 5, 6 to a 3 combat. I succeed and I draw a card. That was my second action. My third action is I'm going to investigate. It is a 5 to a 4, 6, 7 to a 4, 8 to a 4, and if I succeed, I get both clues. Cause a deduction. That's insanely gross. But that's Arkham for you. So that was my third action. That was really gross. I'm going to spend 2 to play elusive. You can play elusive even if you're not engaged with enemies. It is a fast action. I am going to go to a revealed location with no enemies, which is the entryway. And with my last action, I am going to resign. Wow, that was really gross. So Searching for Izzy never came out, which definitely made this a little easier. Still a little rattled by that auto lose, but that is how this game goes. So I resign, so I will advance. As soon as you cross the threshold of the entryway, something inside the temple begins to change. If an investigator resigned with the relic at pages under his or her control, we read the temple. The floor of the temple stops shaking, and the dull humming in the walls goes quiet. Without the relic in its chamber, the ruins appear to be sleeping once more. You still have no idea what the object is or what its purpose may be, but you dare not tarry any longer to find out. Go to R1. 1, the following is scrawled below the previous journal entry. The outside of the temple ruins appeared Aztec in origin, but once we reached the interior, it became clear that these buildings had a very different and inhuman origin. The ruins were alive. The grooves in the walls were illuminated as though powered by electricity, and a faint hum of energy reverberated throughout the halls. In spite of the serpent creatures, we were able to reach a hidden passage that led deeper underground. In the central chamber of these underground halls, we found our prize, a steel orb of unknown origin, gently humming and glowing with a dim blue light. It was attached delicately to a bronze frame, appearing almost religious in its significance, and we knew it could not have been made by the Aztecs. With the artifact in tow, we fled the ruins. The building had started to crumble around us as though the orb was the only thing keeping it standing. Had it been powering the ruins like a battery? What exactly was this device that the serpents guarded so fervently? Maria was waiting for us with the trucks when we finally reached the northern edge of the rainforest. We're getting the hell out of the serpent-infested jungle while we still can. In your campaign log, record that the investigators recovered the relic of the Aegis. All right. One investigator must add the relic of Aegis to his or her deck. That's fine. The Harbinger of Felucia is still in play or set aside. Record the Harbinger is still alive. And I gave it exactly 0 damage. So I'll record that too. Alright. The Yig's Fury, I have 3 vengeance points, because the underground ruins is void of clues, and I get 3 victory points, which I know I will spend on charisma. Still not poisoned, which is nice. No trauma. We are going to, so let me spend this experience. Done. Edit. Charisma. I'm going to put these on top because they are going to come out of the deck for the next scenario. Little things like that I always forget to do. So we are now going to read Expeditions End number 1, Friday, July 17th, 1925. We have finally made it back to Arkham. Our expedition, a success. Alejandro is excited to report his findings to the university. How he maintains his starry-eyed idealism after the hell we went through in the jungle is beyond me. His attention is fixated on the strange relic that we discovered in the ruins. I wish we knew a little more about the artifact's origins. It unsettles me greatly. It hums at all times and pulses with an otherworldly energy I can scarcely describe. As we traveled home with the artifact in tow, our nights were plagued by bizarre nightmares, dreams of other worlds and civilizations. Alejandro wants to bring the relic to the Miskatonic Museum to put on display along with the other Eztli artifacts we discovered. My feelings are mixed. At the museum, it will receive proper care, and historians will be able to study it, perhaps even discern its purpose. However, I fear that this relic may be too dangerous for the public. After all, we still have no idea what the damn thing even is. Alejandro would hate it, and perhaps it would be better to keep the relic somewhere safe. Alejandro would hate it But perhaps it would be better to keep the relic somewhere safe where Harlan and I could study it in private. I'll have to decide tonight. After tomorrow, there won't be any time to change my mind. Now, I have done this scenario a few times. I often randomize my decisions in spots like this, and for whatever reason of variance, I have often ended up giving it to Harlan, but this time I want to give it to Alejandro. All right, so it belongs to the museum. Alejandro and the museum staff will be able to study it and learn more about its purpose. So I read Expeditions End 2, Sunday, July 19th, 1925. I've decided to give custody of the relic to Alejandro. This entire expedition was based on his research, after all, and he should be the one to study it. If anyone can discern the relic's secrets, it's him. The relic is to be the centerpiece of a new exhibit at the museum. Alejandro has already written extensively about our discoveries, but his work has only just begun. Many mysteries about our expedition remain. How have the Eztli people remained undiscovered for so long? Why did they appear to be guarding the jungle, and from what? Who really built the temple ruins we explored? I have no doubt Alejandro will uncover the answers to these questions, given enough time. As for me, my role in this endeavor has ended. However, I have yet to relax. My thoughts are constantly in the jungle, serpentine figures in the shadows, obsidian arrows embedded in skeletal bodies, malformed voices shrieking in the cavernous depths. When I walk through the streets, I find myself drawn toward the museum without realizing it, as though possessed to see the relic once again. There is a nagging sensation in the back of my mind, as though we have forgotten something important. What must I do to rid myself of? The journal entry ends abruptly. Record in your campaign log that the investigators gave custody of the relic to Alejandro Vela. Alright. Gave custody to Alejandro. Alright. That's good. Record that we've earned Alejandro's trust. It's a long word. Alright, trust. I can add it to my deck. It's already there. I will add one extra tablet. So there is now 2 tablets in the bag. Edits. Add a tablet. Alright, so you're up to 16 tokens in this bag. And then we'll skip to Expeditions End 4. You drop your pen as a loud knocking at the door startles you, and you jump to your feet. It's almost 2:30 in the morning. Who could possibly be at your door at this hour? Your thoughts wander again to the jungle, and you are faced with a vision of serpent creatures attacking you in your own home. Shuddering, you find a weapon and approach the front door carefully, ready to strike if need be. You take a long breath and open the door. On the other side is a familiar woman with brown skin, long brown hair, and piercing yellow eyes set in a hard glare. Though her attire is changed, you recognize her instantly as Chaka, the Eztli warrior who you encountered in the rainforest. Wearing a long coat and a bowman hat, she is visibly uncomfortable. Wearing a long coat and a bowman hat, she is visibly uncomfortable in her shoes. Her jaw is set in anger. You are about to raise your weapon at defense when she lets out a heavy sigh and walks slowly over the threshold of your home, shutting your front door behind you. Whatever you did, you have to reverse it, she intones darkly, or we will all cease to exist. The story continues in Scenario 3, Threads of Fate. Alright, so 2 scenarios. We have done fairly well in our little endeavor here. Got a lot unlucky, and that last pull would have been nice to have the extra 2 victory points, obviously. But being that we're 2 scenarios in, I already have elusive, I already have my machete, I already have charisma. I think it's fine things I would like to do next with my deck. I want to upgrade the Switchblade. I want to upgrade the 41 Derringer. Maybe not. I definitely want to upgrade the Switchblade. That's for sure. Then there are other things that can definitely, definitely be an asset to this deck as we go forward. But that is that. Thanks for joining me. I think we did okay. I know I had the Chamber of Time was in the Exploration deck for the entire time. Unfortunately, so we didn't get to shuffle that in, but clearly did not change the gameplay. If I had seen it or realized it was there earlier, we could have taken it out. But if anything, it just made things a little harder. Probably had more of a neutral effect, I'm guessing. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting scenario. I was able to deal with the Arbringer. Getting the machete out early was nice. Getting Leo out early was nice. Really able. Getting having the machete out early, getting the Cat Burglar, using the Cat Burglar and the Trench Coat to evade. Getting the lockpicks, although they weren't the most useful this scenario, but getting them was getting those last few clues. So a lot of things went well. We're looking forward to having the opportunity to have two allies out in future scenarios. I think that will really help this deck build and really help Jenny. Next scenario is interesting. It's got some cool mechanics that it does. It has 3 different act decks, so if you've never played the Forgotten Age scenario, I think you'll be intrigued by how that works out, and we'll see if we can get to the end of at least 2 of those 3, and hopefully all 3. So join me next time. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Any questions, please put in the comments. Any rules I messed up, I'd be happy to see that. Always trying to improve my gameplay of this game. Just the depth. The depth is pretty endless, right, in this game. So it's always easy to miss rules and just kind of make little stupid mistakes here and there. So definitely could help me to point out a mistake that I might be making that I didn't even know about. So again, thanks for watching, and look forward to catching you next time. In the meantime, happy gaming, and have a great night. Bye bye.